Wait a second. All right, I think we got the cats going a little bit. I wanted to talk about 11 common blogging mistakes. First off, good late morning here in beautiful Prague. Facebook, I'll give you a view. We're ready to move on in a couple days. In a week. Here we go. Apartment view. One of the more stunning cities in the world. And this is a phenomenal apartment. Which will be some missing here. 3,000 square feet. Crazy cats. Yeah. What's up, brother? Bella. And we also have a house masquerading as one-story apartment. So guys, let's get right into the blogging mistakes. This is my latest post on bloggingfromparadise.com. I link to it via the YouTube live broadcast, live on Facebook as well. And I'm just going to go over mistakes that bloggers commonly make. Again, guys, this is my latest post on bloggingfromparadise.com. So if you want the latest updates, first off, of course, visit bloggingfromparadise.com. We have blogging courses, blogging ebooks to guide you, blogging courses to guide you, and of course, the blog posts. A detailed free blog content to guide you on your blogging journey. And when you're there, you're on the homepage, you could subscribe to my blog to get all the latest updates sent to your email inbox. Morris, what's up, bro? I'm doing great, my man. Great to see you. Great to see you. A little to my south for a few more days. Actually, one more week. I think we're in Prague for one more week, and then I know you'll stay tuned to see where we're going next. But yeah, that's right. You're a little to my south. Good late morning from Prague. So good to see you. I'm looking down at Facebook and YouTube. Really appreciate it, bro. Really appreciate it. So guys, 11 common blogging mistakes. I wanted to flesh these out because there's so much confusion with blogging, in part because, awesome, man. Same with you. See you get out and about, and of course you're in such a gorgeous country as is. There's a lot of confusion in the blogging world, guys, because most bloggers make one of these common mistakes and they wing it. They try to figure it out on their own. And that's an obvious mistake, which I'll go over in a minute or two, or a couple minutes. Wing it, make all types of mistakes, and then they get really frustrated. They're struggling, failing, and then they quit. And this is such a common process. It's repeated so many times. I've been online for 15 years, so I've seen this process repeated again and again and again. And it's so unnecessary because once you realize you're making mistakes, you correct them and you start to succeed. Logically, it makes sense. Emotionally, you got to look at yourself truthfully, honestly. You got to start looking at yourself and at your blog. So let's dive in, guys. Number one, covering multiple niches. This is a really common blogging mistake, guys, because the world predominantly trusts specialists, people who do one thing to do it really well. We don't trust a jack of all trades type. Now, when you cover multiple niches, you're claiming to be a jack of all trades. So you're saying, I could know these 2 or 3 or 4 niches better than an individual who gives all of their attention and energy to one niche. That's bullshit. Because if you see someone who's covering 4 niches, let's say they're covering blogging tips, affiliate marketing, making money online, and personal development. when you see the breadth, I don't even know, the depth, the volume, the sophistication, the clarity, it's your business end, Ari. The details, the richness, the fullness, not on that, buddy. The richness, the fullness of the content of someone who's trying to cover in the blogging tips niche, or not saying in the blogging tips, 4 niches, of a blogger who's trying to cover 4 topics, and you look at their blogging tips posts, and then you stop by Blogging from Paradise and you see what I offer by giving virtually all. I mean, I talk about traveling a little here and there at the behest of my readers who've asked me to do it. That's the only reason why. My readers are like, talk about your travels. I'm going to blog about your travels. So I'm like, all right, I do it. But you'll see my blogging tips posts and courses and ebooks are light years ahead of anybody who tries to do blogging tips with 4 different niches, because I've given all my attention and energy to the blogging tips niche predominantly, 98% since 2014. So of course my blog's going to be far more impressive, incredible, and trustworthy, because where your attention energy goes grows. So stop trying to cover all these niches, guys. It's not going to work. You're divvying up your energy, you're dissipating it, and you're forfeiting your success. The world trusts specialists, not generalists. Yeah, 15 years. I think it's great you also talk about your traveling as opposed to generic guru who doesn't show their personality. Yeah, that's a good point, bro. I appreciate that, Morris. I really do. And I think it does add that element to my blog. It does. And it's fun too. So I do it a little bit here and there just because I know most people are there for the blogging tips, and I feel clearer on it. But I'll talk about like our first impressions of Prague when we were here a couple weeks ago when we arrived. And I don't know if I'll cover I might talk about Prague a little bit more as long as I'm here. At least 1 or 2 posts from each location. And then also too, people can get a lot of really good travel photos and content, more photos and some videos through my social channels as well. So thanks, bro. And I appreciate that feedback. Keep it in mind as always. So that's number 1, cover 1 niche, become a specialist, not generalist. Number 2, common blogging mistakes, ignoring all metrics for years. Now I know, guys, through my courses and my ebooks over the years, I've talked about rarely, if ever, checking stats. And I do rarely check stats. Like I don't, some cases I've said, oh, I never, but I always check a little bit. And the reason why is, guys, even if you're doing it mainly for the process, predominantly or almost entirely for the fun and love of helping people, and the results do tend to take care of themselves, you also just a little bit at a time, like I would say maybe even minimum 3 to 6 months, just to check your metrics to see long-term trends developing or not developing. So you can kind of keep doing more of what works and stop doing what doesn't work. Because if you entirely put your blogging head in the sand, you'll miss the long-term trends or lack thereof, which can point you in more helpful directions. Not so much for the worldly success, although it's kind of related to that, but just to show you how you could be most helpful. Make sense? So like I started doing live videos again because I felt the intuitive nudge, but then I also remembered like when Zach Johnson featured me on John Chow's blog, and he said I was really doing a phenomenal job. This is a number of years ago with live broadcasts. And I'm like, oh, that was kind of one of those longer term trends that showed that I was being truly helpful. And other bloggers noticed that, and my readers noticed that, my community noticed that. And they were giving me that feedback, but of course I had to kind of pay attention to them, pay attention to some of the numbers over the long term to notice that trend. So don't put your head entirely in the sand. It helps to see, even if you love what you're doing, what's working, what's not, and it just moves you in a different direction maybe. Or you keep moving in the same direction. So maybe every 3 to 6 months, or maybe monthly, not too frequent. We'll get to the other mistake, obsessive stat checking, but you'll kind of see like, oh, I want to keep moving in this direction because the numbers are growing in terms of a longer term trend, and I want to move away from this direction because nothing's really happening and maybe it feels kind of heavy too. Number 3, common mistake. Not updating old content. Guilty as charged for a very long time until I started updating old content, and then those were the posts that ranked for a while, and some for quite a long time. Like I remember I updated 2 posts, blogging income claims, whether you should do them or not, yes or no, and successful bloggers to follow, 14 successful bloggers to follow. And both posts after I updated, they reached page 1, position 1 of Google for blogging income claims for a bit. And successful bloggers to follow is still number 1, and it's been number 1 for very many years. Sorry you're getting his business in, but that's the affection from these guys. Ari, beautiful Russian blue. We're watching a Russian blue, a Bengal, 2 exotic cats, and a Croat, I call her. They found her in Croatia. So when you're getting 0 engagement, that's usually a clear sign. Check the metrics. Exactly, Morris. Oh, updating old content. All right, it's a wake-up call. I need to get on that. Cat is beautiful. He is, isn't he, Morris? But thank you. It's a great ad, Morris. Wake-up call. And it was for me, too, because these posts started to rank. And I realized Google loves aged permalink domains. Like when you have a blog post and you published it a while ago, and the URL basically for the post, when that's 2, 3, 4 years old, Google values that because it's been in the game. But they value the link, but of course you have to have timely, evergreen, updated, relevant content associated with that link to actually start ranking it again, or to rank it for the first time, or to gain credibility, because Google looks at your full body of blogging work. It doesn't say, well, there's this fresh post that's really good and long form and SEO optimized, but then you go back 6 months or a year or even 5 years, and these old posts are talking about not MySpace, but Google Plus and guest blogging for links on link farms and whatever. What was the one site that was through Twitter? Blab. So you're like, here's how to hack Blab and drive tons of traffic. That's like Blab went away years ago. So when readers in Google see those old posts that are totally irrelevant, that factors into your full body of blogging work. So not only are you not going to rank as many of the new posts because Google's looking at your entire site and the algorithm's like, hey, there's a lot of irrelevant content. Readers are going to go back and are going to be like, is this blogger asleep at the wheel? He's blogging about Blab and Google Plus. Those died years ago, went the way of the cyber dinosaurs. So you got to get rid of those posts entirely because they're irrelevant. And then also updating old posts for a number of reasons. Getting rid of dead links. Getting rid of thin content, or beefing up thin content that actually can be pretty phenomenal when you add to the 600 words, 1,000 words. So it's 1,500 words. And then maybe you'll completely rewrite the post because you don't like the quality of your writing back then. I've been doing a lot of that because I'm looking at my old posts and I'm like, I used to keep them, and my school of thought was, well, that's who I was at the time to show the progression. And then I'm like, wait a second. Everyone is, I don't say judging me on the full body of blogging work, but I feel clearer on writing, updating old posts with how I think, feel, and write now, right? That's just how I felt. So I'm like, I've been rewriting a lot of posts and removing a lot of wordy, long form stuff. And some of it I keep, and it's still valuable because my old form ebooks and courses are actually current. I've redone those, but ebooks, the practical tips still rock. And I'm clear on some of those as far as being maybe not quite as concise. Yet, I know that through my blog, it made more sense for Google traffic and just overall brand cohesion to update a lot of that content. And at the very least, guys, independent of the actual writing style, you got to get rid of what isn't timely and relevant and replace it with what is relevant, because you want to think about your full body of blogging work. So that's number 3, not updating old content. Update old posts. I would say Check every 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Go back through your old posts slowly but surely and update. Number 4, fearing that you will annoy readers with your content. This is a big one, guys. You have bloggers who are publishing detailed, long form, 1,200, 1,500 word posts that are really good, and then they hold back from publishing the next post until next week or 2 weeks from now because they're afraid of annoying their readers. Guys, how can you succeed if you're afraid of annoying your readers with the very content that will help you to succeed? It's almost like saying, I want to be successful, but I'm afraid that I'll annoy people with it. Plus, if anybody's annoyed by receiving a 1,500 word SEO optimized post 2 to 3 times a week, not that you'll be pulling that off, but even weekly, they weren't your readers anyway. It's their problem. Like, content makes your blog go. So go for it. However, there is an exception based on the basic, like hinging on the basic expectation of most readers, maybe the Google algorithm, but I'll just say most human beings, we kind of agree that a minimum blog post is 600 words. It's just a general agreement, 600 or so. So you will annoy readers if you try to publish 5 to 10 400 word posts a day because the expectation is 600 at least. And really, guys, long form is kind of the way to go, 800 to 1,000. Not 800,000, 1,200 or 1,500, really. But if you publish 8 400 word posts a day and you email those 8 400 word posts to your list, yes, you will annoy readers. Don't do that. Most of us want at least 600 words. And if you start finding yourself publishing 2, 3, 4, 600 word posts a day, and I've done that in the past, and lesson learned, you're not going to make traction because most readers are expecting 1,200, 1,500 word posts. So it's far better to wait a week or at least 3 to 4 days to publish the next 1,500 word post that really hits the mark versus putting out those 600 word posts daily, multiple times a day, because they're really not hitting the mark. Don't think about a ton of posts because that will annoy readers. I mean, those rare cases. Think about a few really detailed posts that hit the mark and then make a seismic impact. But when you're publishing that detailed content, guys, let it ride. Don't be afraid of annoying readers with the one thing you need to succeed. Yes, that's a great point, Morris. Morris says, if you have a thought that can be summarized in 200 words, you could write that in an email to your list instead of publishing a blog post. What do you think? Perfect idea, brother. And thanks so much for the chat, man. This is so helpful, engaging, and we're doing the EU thing here. Slogans up here, but I appreciate it so much. Great idea. Yeah, Morris says like 200 word thought. You could send that out to your list, number one. That would be an awesome idea. And then you could also turn it into a thread on Twitter if you wanted, or if you wanted to keep exclusive, just send it to your list. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is, right? I know. Now I'm not, well, I guess I was a little further ahead of you when I was when I was in Greece and then Turkey. And now we're like right north, Twitter thread. Yep. You put it in Twitter thread as well. So if you have that shorter thought, do it like, distribute it through those channels, not through your blog, because blogs are more like, I'm saying minimum 600, but ultimately, guys, 1,000 to 1,200, 1,500. Just because it's kind of that expectation. Okay, number 5. Whew, really cooking here. Almost 20 minutes and we're not even halfway through. I love it. Spamming by commenting off topic. A lot of us know, but based on the spam folder and blogging from paradise.com every day, a lot of bloggers don't know. And actually, too, bloggers that they're new to this game and they see other bloggers who are allegedly successful, or maybe they have success spamming, and then you think, oh, that's what you do. But I'm just here to remind you guys, don't promote your blog or your business via blog comment. Make all of your comments genuinely related to the topic being discussed. So when you comment on a blog post, like for my latest post on bloggingparadise.com, 11 common blog mistakes, you read it, or even if you scan it, that's okay. Like, I don't mind. I understand everybody has their own preference. That's fine. At least take one point from the post and talk about it and share your point of view. And do it in a paragraph or two. And then that's it. Make it about the blog post, discuss the blog post, not your business and not your blog. Otherwise, it's spam. And especially in this day and age, guys, with AI generated content and comments, because I noticed it started popping up. Even bloggers who were usually well-meaning, I would read their names and I know they're in my network, and then I'm reading these comments and I'm like, oh man, that's not them, that's AI. You just know it. I'm like, they don't write like that. They're using AI, or maybe somebody else is. So I wasn't upset. I said, oh man, but I'm like, no, I can't publish it. I guess that was the little bit of discomfort. Like, oh, I'd love to publish it, but I know they're using AI, because they wouldn't write like that. Or somebody else is trying to I don't know. Who knows? Either way, though, unless you're using your name and addressing fellow bloggers by name and writing from your heart and being genuine, it's just going to be spam. It's not going to be seen. So stay on topic. Number 6, spamming by sharing your blog post links as unrelated comments on social media. So we're talking Facebook, and Twitter, and LinkedIn. A common blogging mistake you'll see bloggers make is they want to post a comment, not almost like with the blog comment, not to keep a relevant, genuine chat going about the topic being discussed, but to shoehorn their blog link or to shoehorn their blog post link in. Or you'll see bloggers who cover a topic, so they'll share on Facebook a post about 11 common blogging mistakes, and they'll point the post to their blog. I did. Then you'll see someone drop a comment, well, look at my post on the same topic. That's spam, because you're trying to bring the attention to yourself. That's basically it, guys. When you try to bring the attention to yourself and your blog, and that's your prime intent, instead of giving attention to the topic being discussed and talking about that, it's spam. And it'll be deleted. And you can talk about damaging your reputation, dissolving your credibility, all that jazz. But more than anything, nobody's going to see it because it's going to be deleted. And even people who see it, if they don't delete those spam comments, nobody's going to care. Because when you spam, you prove that you're struggling horribly. Nobody wants to follow a blogger who's struggling horribly. They want to follow successful bloggers. All righty, let's get to number 7. We're getting there, guys. I have lunch pretty soon, too. Chasing numbers. Now, I said you could check stats every 3 to 6 months or even monthly to get an idea of what to keep doing, what to stop doing. Longer term trends, that's cool. But when you obsess over numbers on an hourly or daily basis, you are giving your attention and energy to outcomes which starves you of the attention and energy and robs your followers and readers and folks that will come to meet you if you're guest blogging and commenting, engaging outreach. It robs them the opportunity to get to know you, because helping them, you're looking at numbers for yourself. Stat checking obsessively is entirely egoic and self-centered, yet the success comes from helping other people. So do you see why people who obsess over stats and overanalyze, and they're sitting there for 20 minutes and a half hour thinking about a number, why they tend to struggle, fail, and quit horribly? Or even if they have some success, and some do, they never scale because they're thinking about themselves so much of the time instead of helping other people. And then when you get lost in helping other people, you stop chasing the numbers and the metrics take care of themselves. So you still may check long term, but if you're not checking your income metrics or traffic metrics every day for a month, you'll find that by getting lost in guest blogging, genuine blog commenting, blogger outreach, publishing detailed content, those numbers month over month will increase. They will, because when you help people, they'll help you succeed. When you help readers, they'll help you by buying your stuff and hiring you and engaging you and promoting you. It's all very simple logically. Emotionally, most of us have a lot of fears around money and loss and criticism. We're very afraid, wasting our time. And you have to conquer those fears in your mind, or you will obsessively chase numbers. And when you're chasing numbers, you're not helping humans. And when you're not helping humans, you'll struggle, fail, and quit. It's just, logically, we know it. Emotionally, you really got to get deep into your mind, guys. And it's uncomfortable. What I think of this analogy, this is helpful. View checking stats as flying down the highway, like I'll say in the States. I'm always thinking in terms of us being the dingbats who don't adopt the metric system. But when we're in the States, 55 is the speed limit, 55 miles per hour. Sorry, guys. Especially now I'm in the EU, I feel a bit sheepish. But no, in all seriousness, it's like you're going down on a country highway out in the middle of nowhere in the States doing 80 miles per hour. There's no cops around. I don't suggest you do that and break the law, but you're really zooming along. There's nobody around. Well, this anywhere in the world, but 80 miles an hour. And you want to treat statistics like if you look at a mile marker, you're flying by it. I know where I'm at. And then you keep going by. You do not slam on the brakes because you get into an accident and die. You do not slow down, pull to the side of the road, and stare back at that mile marker for 10 minutes just looking at it. It would be insane to do that. I think you're loony bin, cuckoo, puzzle factory. No, we don't do that. We just note and keep going. So when you're thinking of statistics, if you're tempted even shorter term to check them like weekly, try not to, but if you do, look at them like a mile marker. Okay, this is where I'm at right now. Boom. I see I'm going to keep going past the mile marker and keep heading towards my goal. And then again, longer term, you could check month, maybe every 3 to 6, and see trends and kind of move in different directions, but don't obsess over them. When you get lost in helping people, things will work out for you over the long haul. Mistake number 8, winging it. I mentioned it before, guys. The ego thinks of a lot of bizarre mistakes. It's the litany could go on forever, and that's why a post like I wrote and published at bloggingparadise.com. Hey, Cosmo, what's up, bro? Great to see you. The idea that, this live broadcast on Facebook or the live broadcast on YouTube, we're like totally new to this thing called blogging. And we think, like bloggers think, if they're new to it, that they could just wing it and figure it out on their own and give it a shot, which is nuts because there are so many skills to learn, to study. There's so much to learn, to practice, to apply, that the only sane choice is to follow 1 or 2 or at the most 3 blogging tips pros, successful bloggers who know how to succeed. Study their posts, invest in their courses, invest in their ebooks, study that information and put it into action. Then you will succeed. Yet, it is such a common mistake for bloggers to do the exact opposite. They buy their domain and hosting, if they even go that far, and they just wing it. They just start blogging about 5 topics or what's on their mind. And it's so obvious that they have no idea what they're doing, and they have no idea what they're doing because they're not learning from a professional. Guys, in so many walks of life, we have enough common sense to say, I have no clue what the heck I'm doing, so I'm going to hire a coach, or I'm going to invest in a book, or invest in a course. Or we do this thing in the world called going to school. We do this thing called paying a tuition. If it's public, it's another thing, but say you're going to private or whatever, Christian, Catholic, or even not. University, college. Invest money, pay a tuition to learn how to do it from professionals who have experience, from individuals who know what they're talking about, who teach. And then you learn. It's kind of simple. Blogging has to be the same way. Hey, Subish. So learn from pros, pick 1 or 2, maybe 3 blogging tips, bloggers, read their posts, study their content, put their advice into action, invest money in their ebooks and courses. I have 2 courses of blogging from paradise.com, and I think 9 ebooks now. I list out step by step how to succeed, so you could read, listen. The one course is all audio, so you could listen, take notes. The other one is like audio, video, text. You're consuming it, you're taking notes, you're learning, you're putting the notes into action, and that's how you succeed. Don't wing it, guys. We're getting there. For some reason, it comes out of business. We believe we could do it single-handedly all on my own. Oh, Google it. Oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah, Morris. Yeah, I was switching back and forth between the post itself and Facebook. Yeah, 88.5, pretty fast. And then you figure 80 miles per hour, Morris. But we only do that. Some people do it all the time. I only do it out in the middle of nowhere, and there's nobody. As you know, the U.S. is huge. especially this past year when I was down south. I mean, the whole country, it's gargantuan country, but you get these open country roads in North Carolina, South Carolina, nobody around, Johnny Lloyd around, you just 70, 80, late at night too, of course. And of course you have to be careful too with the deer, and goodness knows what else out there. What else is out there? That's a Sasquatch reference, guys, a Bigfoot reference that everybody thinks is a joke, but they do exist. Kelly and I had an experience with one. Just, we'll get into that. If there are any Bigfoot fans or any Sasquatch fans, put Sasquatch Adirondacks and you'll see my video of our particularly vivid encounter in a very remote section of the Adirondacks in upstate New York. There's very big people in the forest, and they're very strong and fast, and they're not us. They're not human. Yeah, for some reason, when it comes to business, we believe that we could do it single-handedly on our own, like Morris said. Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's weird too, Morris, because we see these highly successful entrepreneurs that build these things called companies of human beings, and then we think like, oh, we'll be solopreneurs, like literally, and not, no. The Robert Kiyosaki quote, the wealthiest people in the world look for and build networks. They do. They look for, which means there's work there, and then they build them through being generous and genuine. And then everyone else looks for work, and you see that really is true. And obviously, everyone else is looking for work. We wind up working for, and we're taking that road for the people who look for and built networks. It's easier to see when you expose yourself to folks who are building their businesses from the ground up, and then also observing really successful entrepreneurs. And again, guys, we all work our own path. So it's cool. Whatever you're doing, just make sure you're passionate about it and you're having fun. If not, egoic fear is calling the shots, and you're going to want to face that stuff, or else there's just going to be a lot of struggle and strain. And when you listen to your intuition, listen to spirit, you trust your gut, you're going within, not listen to fear, listen to love, fun, you'll be led in the right direction for you, the most freeing direction for you. All right, guys. Whew. Number 9, fearing to promote products and services, your product and services. This is a common one. A lot of bloggers are afraid to promote their products and services, to promote their business for so many different fears: rejection, criticism, poverty, money loss, success. Promoting yourself and getting clear on that could mean success, which could appear to alienate you from people who like the failing version of you because it fit into their box. I'm just going to do those facial expressions because most of us know we, take certain journeys. And so anyway, you got to promote yourself because symbolically there's a lot of fear and embarrassment and shame and awkwardness and just like, oh, I'm wasting my time. What's the sense? What's the use? And you have to cut through all that unconscious and conscious fear in your mind to actually make the sale. You don't have to do it from action. Symbolically, most of us need to take that journey to cut through the fear, to put ourselves out there, and then the money will increase. So most of us have worked jobs. Have you been afraid or embarrassed or ashamed to walk into the office and pick up your paycheck every Thursday? Did it feel uncomfortable? Did you ever say to yourself, I'd rather not do that because it feels kind of, I think people may be upset that I pick up this money and I don't know if I deserve it. So no, I'll work for free. Now, if that sounds insane, of course it sounds hilarious. It's just as insane and hilarious that a blogger would be afraid to promote their products and services because you're receiving money for it. It's identical. When you frame that in from an identical perspective, an identical light, same, then you'll completely lose the fear, or at least partially, and say, wait a second. This is one of the ways through which I'm receiving money. Yeah, I'll put it out there. Think it through, guys. These analogies can be very eye-opening. I do a lot of thinking. Oh boy, we're getting there. Number 10, trying to do it all solo. Morris mentioned it, guys. There's so much to learn as a blogger, especially when you move into the business side of things. But even if you don't want to do it for business and you want to do it as an amateur with no ambition, no professional pinings, if you want to do it completely amateur, I don't want to make a penny, I just want to share my thoughts with the world on this one topic and build a community and help people, be truly helpful, There's a lot to learn. So you have to learn from pros, but more importantly, with this tip, trying to do it all solo. In a world of connected bloggers who engaged in outreach for a while, who have all these bloggers promoting them, endorsing them, some buying their stuff, some hiring them, growing their referral business. If you try to do things solo, you will be completely engulfed in their wake. So as an example, I just published a blog post, and because I didn't try to do it by myself, well, various times I have and I've struggled, but I've patiently built my blogger network through outreach. This is where the Robert Kiyosaki quote really kicks in. The wealthiest people in the world look for and build networks. That means for bloggers, you look for and build relationships with bloggers in your niche by helping them out, commenting genuinely on their blog, engaging them, chatting with them, promoting them on your blog, promoting them in social media. Maybe you open your blog to guest blogging. Maybe you interview the individual. Maybe you do an interview with the individual. Maybe you guest blog for them. That's what the top bloggers do. So they build these large networks of friends through patient outreach by putting in the work. Then, like when I just published a post and I share it to a ton of spots, Twitter, and then I update it I send out 3 Twitter updates, and I send it to Facebook, and then I automate 3 updates for the next 3 days. I pin it to 10 boards. Many of those boards I found through my blogging friends. I share it on LinkedIn. It's 20, 30, 40, 50 spots. When you share it in all those spots and your friend network picks it up and they share it with their communities, that's how you scale. Meanwhile, you have all these bloggers that are trying to do it by themselves. Nobody sees their stuff because when you check the blogging hashtag on certain sites, or you look up blogging, you're going to see my blog come up again and again and again through my friend network, through the tribes I'm in, through Viral Content Bee and Triber, and just organically through blog comments. And y'all bloggers that are trying like heck to do it all themselves, and they're drowned out by the bloggers who do outreach. But if you do outreach, then you rise in blogging circles, helping other bloggers who help you, you gain exposure in front of their communities, then you'll begin to succeed. It's all so simple when you realize that doing outreach and building a friend network is the only way to succeed. If you try to do it by yourself, again, you'll be caught up in the wake. So like now my link from this latest post is going out in all these spots through my individual efforts, but through my friend network who are sharing it with their communities on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, and went out to my list. And it's just, you amplify and scale so powerfully. Leverage your blog so powerfully when you make friends who build your business and traffic around the clock all over the world through all these channels. And you try to do it by yourself, a few people see your blog. It's no brainer, but until you get into the fear and a lot of egoic stuff. And number 11, not establishing an exit plan. Over the years, when I've done coaching, when I've coached bloggers and I offer those services, it's just in general, when people reach out to me, one of the problems they have is they've built blogging income based entirely on an active model. So whether they're coaching or consulting or freelancing, social media, whatever, social media manager, freelance writer, they're making money, but they're trading time for the money. So they only make money if they're sitting in front of a computer and coaching someone. So they're trading an hour of their time for that. What happens when they're not trading that time? They don't make any money. Can you exit from a strategy that's entirely dependent on your presence in front of a computer? No, because it needs you. Think of Jay-Z. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. In a way, and this is like kind of thinking it upside, I mean, it's thinking it in reverse, but like he built up this name. So even though it's based on him, he's not working a job. It's based on his name. So when the name is associated with products that sell passively and shows and songs, so he has this passive income empire of over $1 billion because he had an exit plan. He's not sitting there and saying, I'll make money if I do a concert, or my body needs to be, or I'm coaching someone, and again, you could go that route, guys, but as long as you don't build passive income channels, and as long as you're not leveraging the heck out of SEO optimized content, you're working a blogging job, not a business. And again, I'm thinking of clients who are like, man, it's all active income. I can't find the 15th hour, and I'm teaching and coaching like what I do. Blogging courses sell around the clock, blogging ebooks sell around the clock. I mean, potentially in the beginning, you got to build it up. But when you have that content out there and you have phenomenal detailed posts that you share in a billion spots, passively, you'll experience success when you go to sleep, traffic and income. When you go offline, you circle the globe, traffic and income. And eventually, when you get it big enough, you could sell the blog, or if you don't sell the blog, it will take minimal effort on your part. Or for a long term, you could just exit it for a number of weeks or months, and all that work you did over the years will put you in 1 trillion targeted spots, and you'll be selling passively. So you could step away from your blog, or you could just step away and say, forget it. I've made enough. It will spin like a top for a bit, and then you'll just let it go. And it'll still keep making money for you because it's in a gazillion spots from all the intelligent leveraging work you did. And the way you make the money is passive. The course is out there, the ebooks out there, evergreen, of course. Or even if it's ad revenue, you got to think of an exit plan, guys. Like I said, I'm 48 now. If I stay in the body for a while, if I don't put it aside, I'm not going to be sitting here at 75 broadcasting live and publishing comments and publishing content. Even though I love doing this, I do not envision that for myself. Like, it will just be, I'll exit it. If I don't sell it, it'll just be something where maybe I'll publish a little bit of content, or I'll tweet some posts here and there, but it will just be like a top is spinning, and then you give it that little, but I'll walk away from it and I'll let it make money, drive traffic for me completely passively, based on all the work I did over the years and based on passive income channels. That's so important. Write and sell, create and sell courses, write and sell ebooks. I mean, ad revenue is passive. Affiliate marketing. Think of these models that don't require your presence in front of a computer, because eventually you're going to want to step away from it. Oh, yeah. Well, don't worry, Morris. I'll be around for a bit. And it's still there. Well, I plan to be around for a bit. I can't say for sure. We'll see what Spirit has. Obviously, we all know this bit is temporary. So that's why you want to keep going in your mind and kind of understand on a deeper level that you're eternal. Like, we're all eternal. We're eternal. This is just, the deeper you get in your mind, you realize that, yes, exit plan, of course, but you'll start to realize too, and it's again a little metaphysical, but it's true. So you may as well discuss it, right? If it's true, this is a jacket. Like, this is a jacket, and we take it off, and then we put on another jacket. And you want to keep waking up your mind, so maybe you don't do the whole jacket thing for, appear to do it for eternity. But as far as the exit plan, blogging rocks. I have so much fun doing it. I'm just going to keep diving into it, but just think, it's got you thinking more like a business owner. Oh yeah, most definitely, Morris. Actually, it's going to sound funny, bro. You know how I do it? I don't check email. I do things very differently, just because almost all of my email was spam. And when I let that go, so Twitter is the best way. And yeah, exactly. Twitter, Facebook, or comments on Blogging Paradise. And then of course, when I actually go off grid, I see what you mean. Oh yeah. Well, if I went fully off grid, I'd probably forgive the world. So then we'd have to, I see what you mean. If I fully exited, I'd probably check, even if I exited from my blog, I'd check Twitter, and I'd make sure there's one channel open. But if not, and if I fully forgave the world, like if I gave it all up, we'd meet. Spirit would bring us together. Twitter it is. Yeah. No, I'd still check for a while, just to have a channel open. But think like an entrepreneur, guys. That would be a great wrap up. Even if you don't want to be, when you're thinking, if you don't want to blog for money, when you're thinking along those lines, you'll just think from more of a place of posture and building something, not requiring your full attention, energy, and effort just to stay afloat. Like, you got to step away from it eventually. I think it's time for lunch. Thanks so much, Cosmo, and just everybody out there, Morris, and then anybody watching this on the replay. The latest post on bloggingfromparadise.com is 11 common blogging mistakes. Make sure you stop by bloggingfromparadise.com. You'll see that leaks for a number of days. Actually, maybe till tomorrow, then I'll do another update. Won't write a new one. And if you want to get these latest posts sent directly to your inbox, the new ones now, I just sent out the new ones, the updated ones. You could check on my blog because they're not entirely new. On my homepage of bloggingfromparadise.com, you'll see the subscribe icon. You can click on that and subscribe to my email list. And quick and easy, quick and dirty, nothing, bare bones. I just say click. Send you an email that says click and then the link to the post. Keep it bare bones, guys. That's what a digital nomad does. As you probably know, Kelly and I have been circling the globe for 12 years now. And 2 years ago, we became fully nomadic. That means the house, the home base, where we used to lay our head, it was sold. So now we are fully nomadic. So a lot of folks say, well, when do you go back home? And I'm like, we're fully nomadic. Where do you keep your stuff? I have a backpack and a carry-on. The backpack has a laptop. The carry-on has 1 week's worth of clothes. That's my physical possessions in the world. What about your other stuff? That's all of my physical possessions. I don't own anything else. When you live that type of life, there's a lot of shedding, but then of course you can go anywhere in the world at any time for any reason. And that is unbelievably liberating. We've been doing it for 12 years. We spent 2 weeks in Crete to start the trip back in January. A couple days in Athens, a month in Kalkan and the Turquoise Coast, the Turkish Riviera, then a month in Yanaklar, and now we're wrapping up 3 weeks in Prague, which I believe it's our favorite country in the world now, and I really think it's just the best city, I should say, best city in the world. It's just absolutely staggering beauty, and this is the lifestyle. If you want it, everybody has a different dream. I get that, but if you want it, and if it sounds amazing, I teach how to do it at bloggingfromparadise.com through posts, courses, and ebooks. Simple tips, practical tips, a lot of focus on mindset, and I keep it really as evergreen as possible. So I love you guys. Thanks so much for joining. If you enjoyed this video on Facebook or on YouTube, feel free to share it. Again, stop by bloggingfromparadise.com, guys. Thanks so much, Morris. Really appreciate it. Learn so much from your ebooks and everything you teach. Thanks, brother. Much love, man. Thank you for being there. I'm going to roll, guys. Until next time, enjoy paradise all. Hey, love.